All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to our channel called the Three of Pentacles. We are three tarot card readers, and we like to read on world events and hot topics and celebrities and politics and everything, even stuff in our personal life. We also do personal readings and we do energy healing. Lynn and Kyla are well versed in that. So if you need any sound bowl healing, it's really nice. I've had it done before myself. And I do vocal healing. And so I like to sing for people and make them feel good. Actually, let me go ahead and introduce them first before we introduce our guests, Lynn and Kyla, my soul sisters. Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
everyone.
And my name is Barbara. We like to read for entertainment purposes, but not only we like to go deep. So sometimes when we go deep, we put it all on Rumble. So y'all please check out our Rumble channel. So now we have a special guest. His name is Dr. Brad Mulder. And I know a lot of y'all heard about Dr. Mulder on that television series. What is that? What was that?
X-Files.
The
On the
X-Files,
X-Files.
yes.
Okay, is that him? Is it not him? We're not going to say. We're not going to say. You have to comment down in the comments to see if it's really him or not. But this is Dr. Brad Mulder, and I asked him to come on because he's someone that I've been following for at least let's say 10 years, and we're going to let you know what he does. And it's a long story how we got hooked up together. So I'll just make it really really quick. Can I just tell everybody how you know Okay, I'll make it. I'll make a long story. I'll make a long story longer. So basically, I don't know if any one of y'all listened to Coast to Coast AM with George Nori. So Coast to Coast, it's on radio. He was interviewing somebody called Joshua P. Warren, who is a friend of Dr. Mulder. Now, Joshua P. Warren, he's an author and he's the owner of the Asheville Mystery Museum in North Carolina. He investigates metaphysical phenomena. So go check him out. But don't check him out before you finish this video. Finish watching this video and then you check him out. So Joshua, one time he was talking about this a wishing machine. So I was like, oh my goodness, a wishing machine. What in the world is that? So which is known as the radionic box. And I'll have Dr. Mulder tell you more about it. That's how I found out about Dr. Brad Mulder. Now, he's the mastermind behind producing these boxes. Now, when you receive a box, there's an insert that talks about Charles Cosimano and AKA Uncle Chucky. And he's the other mastermind who took radionics to another level, combining it with psionics, which is that's a whole nother video. Now, radionics, it sounds kind of like, it sounds kind of spooky, but in fact, I was a little bit spooked at the beginning, but I was curious at the beginning too. So radionics it's also called electronic magnetic therapy. Is that right, Brad?
It's also going by names like psionics, for example, or
Okay.
uh, uh, yeah, I've only known it as radionics. And
Okay.
you were talking about Uncle Chucky, and yeah, I've worked with Chuck for it's been years. He and I collaborated on a lot of projects together, and I mean, and we were building a special device. A matter of fact, I was talking to Joshua P. Warren before I got on the air with you tonight, and obviously we were discussing the very same thing about how a friend of mine who was in the military, we all worked together, collaborated, and built a special device to help the soldiers with PTSD. And my friend who was in the know, they're the ones that get those phone calls in the middle of the night from a soldier saying, "Hey, I don't know what else to do. I'm about ready to put a gun in my head,"
Yeah.
and had to try to talk them down, that kind of thing. And so we were working on this, and they noticed after 30 days at least, the emergency calls that he was getting went down almost 35% after 30 days. I thought, hey, if we get 1%, we're doing something, right? I mean, if we could help just one person, we're doing something. But apparently, things really worked. And that's just some of the projects that we've worked on, with Chuck and other people. And you're right about this wishing machine stuff. This is phenomenal. I mean, do you want me to go from the very beginning how I got involved in this? It'd probably take like 5 minutes or so. Would you like to hear that
Well,
or no?
well,
Go
well,
ahead.
before you do that, let me go a little bit more into it so people can kind of get a better
Hmm.
idea.
Hmm.
Now, the man who invented radionics, Albert Abrams, he originally formed used it as an alternative medicine therapy, like he was
Right.
saying, that claim that disease can be diagnosed and treated by applying
Hmm.
electromagnetic radiation. It's kind of like using radio waves to the body with an electronically powered device. So it's
Hmm.
kind of like magnetic therapy or the
Hmm.
Rife, machine, where they basically treat people with magnetic waves. So
Hmm.
anyway, now go ahead. I'm not gonna cut you off
No, no, no,
now.
no, no. You're fine. You're fine. I guess you're probably right. That's where we need to start out. Okay, what the heck is radionics first off? And I tell you what, let me switch my camera here, and I can show you a machine. I kind of got this set up. Hang on 1 second, if I can make this happen. Come on, this thing was cooperating. Okay, now we got it. All right, let's see what happens here. Okay, here we go. Here is one of the very first machines I made. It has an input plate, an output plate. This is basically how all these machines operate since the beginning of its invention. And again, you're right about Dr. Abrams. He was the guy that was doing this. And here's the problem. He went down. The road he went down. Yeah, he was trying to do good for mankind, but he was being retaliated against by his fellow physicians, by whatever that was, the AMA, the Medical Association, or whatever. He was getting a lot of legal issues involved with radionics and medicine, and they were accusing him of medical quackery. Well, I understand where he was going from. I think he was absolutely 100% correct. If radionics doesn't work, then acupuncture doesn't work either, because
Mm,
acupuncture is all about disrupting the energy flow of certain things or redirecting them for healing or to relieve pain or whatever, or symptoms of a disease, for example. All right, and this thing again has dials here that you tune, and I'm going to go through all this and just show people how this thing works first, and then they kind of get an idea of what we're talking about from the rest of the show. All right, so what you're going to do is you need two things. You need something that represents the target. And I usually like to, for my examples, I like to put just something. I don't know if you can see that. I just wrote down me. All right, it could
yeah.
be a picture, it could be a strand of hair, or whatever. But for this example, and we're going to say that I want to make more money, for example. All right, I would put the two things here on the machine, and I would simply start rubbing the stick plate. And the stick plate, what it is, underneath it is a coil, and as you tune the machine, you're creating an interaction physically with the machine. Okay, you're working with the machine, and it becomes it becomes you start to pick up on this energy field. And what you're going to feel as you tune this, as you tune the knobs and they get to the proper position, you're going to feel what we call a stick. In other words, you're going to have like it's a form of dowsing. As your finger goes across the plate, it will create a some kind of resistance, and it'll feel like rubber, like you're going across a piece of rubber, and you have that tactile resistance. Okay, but anyway, to kind of just to show people how this thing works, I'm going to go through an operation. Dr. Mulder needs more money. We'll go with that one. All right,
Hmm.
and it's just as I go here, I feel stick, and that means I'm in the correct position. Another stick. All right, and that's it. And after you do all that, you simply take the target, or the thing that represents the target, which in this case was myself, and put this on the output plate and let it happen. Just let it work. And internally, here's what's happening here. We've all heard about was it energy flows where attention goes, or something along that line.
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
uh and so what you're doing is you created an extension of yourself, an extension of your consciousness with the circuitry that's in here. By tuning this thing, it's basically like you concentrating on the same project 24/7 continuously. I want this materialize, or whatever it may be. It could be whatever the situation may be. You're constantly sending energy or intention toward that particular circumstance. And the thing about this stuff, it all works on a quantum level. And we've come to realize that everything is based upon consciousness, whether you believe in a supreme being or yourself or whatever your belief system may be. Everything is based upon consciousness, because if there wasn't consciousness, there'd be no reason for anything to exist. Number one, if there was nobody to enjoy it or anything to appreciate what exists or what is there, why would it even exist? But where did it even come from? And these are like other questions. But the premise behind this, to go scientifically, and anybody can look this up, is called the double slit experiment. And what they
Mhm.
proved with this experiment, it's been, I think this thing is like almost 120, 25 years old, this particular experiment. What they noticed was, and I'm going to give this a nutshell, that when something is observed or measured, it behaves like matter. It exists. But when it is not observed or measured, it behaves like energy. In other words, it's in a superposition. It exists, but it doesn't exist. Okay. It's kind of like the old saying, if a tree falls in the woods and there's nobody else, if there's somebody there to hear it, will it make a sound? Well, according to what they're saying, not really. I mean, there's no reason for it to make a sound because there's nobody there to observe it, or there's no entity there to observe it. And that is kind of where this thing goes at. This, you're creating basically an observer that is observing your reality, not reality, your reality, observing
Mhm.
it and constantly pushing it toward that outcome, or whatever it is that you're trying to tune the machine for. And that is, in a nutshell, that's how it works. From my research, and I've been at this thing for years. I mean, worked with some of the top people in the world when it comes to radionics. Chuck was probably among the best because this man understood the true fundamentals of how radionics works, and he was able to design simple gadgets, and he even wrote books about it and gave you schematics that you could build stuff from household materials, for example.
Yeah.
Are they as good as what I built? No. I mean, but will they work? Yes, they will work. I mean, that's how I got my start, was building some of these gadgets. And but through research and experimentation, I was able to perfect this technology. And now, I mean, this machine right here is about 7 years old. I have machines that are many generations ahead of what you're seeing right now on the screen. But the point of it is that yes, this stuff works. I proved it to myself many, many times. I have done thousands of experiments over the years with these machines, and I would say minimum, I had an 80% hit rate, an 80% success rate. I'll take it. I'll take it. Hell, I would take 51%. But I got almost an 80% success rate. And the ones that weren't successful, I realized in hindsight, a lot of them, it just took more time than necessary in order for it to become a part of this reality or my reality. And I think that's sort of a simple way of putting it. But hopefully that answered, or either answered some questions or brought up more questions.
You brought up more questions. Well, at
Okay,
least for me,
fantastic.
I always have questions. I mean, but we talk on the phone, so I've asked you a lot of questions. But I just, for everybody that's watching, and for Kyla and Lynn, now the speed of this happening. But well, first of all, let me go back to let's go back to Abraham, the man that invented it. Now, did he
Sure.
invent it to help, like, therapeutically, medically help people from a distance, and then it turned into something else? Somebody said, "Oh, hey, I helped that person there. Well, maybe I could use it for a car." Is that how it happened, or?
No, it wasn't through Abrams. It just kind of, I think it was a guy, John Campbell or Joseph Campbell, I think it was, out of Fate magazine, did an article for Fate magazine, one of these old magazines where they talked about the woo woo. And I think the thing's been around for years. But anyway, I think that's where it kind of got together. Da da, somebody should do something about this. And it might even came before that with Hieronymus. I've The name escapes me. I know this guy's like one of the godfathers of radionics, but his first name escapes me right now. I went to the laboratory they worked out of. It was in the mountains of Georgia, northern Georgia. I talked to the son of one of the people that worked side by side with Hieronymus, and they designed these machines, and they came up with rates and rating system, and they dealt with anything from well-being. I'm going to say that just to keep everything friendly, well-being, whether physical or psychological well-being,
Yeah.
UFOs, paranormal things, money. Yeah, you haven't, you don't really have like a 100% success rate, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was before you started, if I understand correctly.
Charles Cosmano. He's kind of like I guess that they would call him the godfather of radionics.
The
Uh, huh?
I would say modern radionics. You get modern radionics because Hieronymus kind of took care of like when the 40s, the 50s, and that kind of thing, and maybe into the 60s. But Chuck, what Chuck did was he started with radionics back in the 70s, and he looked at the stuff and he was kind of he didn't have a lot of money, to do a lot of experimentation. So he just took what was available and make it work with the technology, get as close to a functional machine as possible when it came to radionic technology, and he did it. I mean, some his stuff. He's done many experiments using machines that they were made out of cardboard boxes, for example. And he would get the parts from Radio Shack, and just he didn't even know how to use a soldering iron. He would just kind of clean up the end of the wire, make sure he had a good electrical connection with the potentiometers, which is the thing the dials are on, and he would create the circuits and what have you, and made it happen. And because of that, a lot of people didn't like him. No, plus he was sort of a bad boy of radionics. He was a bit of a magician, a black magician, and we're just going to be full disclosure here. And the guy was always, his call, or he always liked to say, the what, but the great, the powerful, and evil. I emphasize evil, Uncle
Yeah,
Chucky. All right,
yeah, yeah,
and and he had a dark sense of humor, and it was pretty
yeah.
dark. And but the thing
But
about it,
very funny at the same time and very knowledgeable
exactly,
with history and just takes life, just really kind of funny person. I'm
exactly.
very likable person, and you'll be thinking, oh my gosh, I like him. He's funny and entertaining and
Hmm.
makes it really simple to learn how to do these things. But there's that couple of sides there. Be like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, you kind of like wonder where is this guy coming from, and and but I liked him myself. I mean, like I said, he was a mentor, and I was probably one of the closest things he ever had to a protege because I actually worked with him. We would have conversations every Thursday night and discuss ideas of developing new machines and what have you. And one thing led to another, and he said, "Heck, let's get together here. I have a bunch of stuff on the that I want to build and introduce to the public." But he didn't have the skill set in order to do a lot of this stuff. So I was the lucky guy to take his ideas and create a functioning machine or device, and also make it look somewhat you know make it ergonomic, and make it not look like it was made out of a cardboard box. And so, and so, and I was that lucky
But he
guy.
always says it worked. It works. He said, it works. He said.
It works, yes. And I tell you, one of the greatest, and this guy did not like to give compliments very easily, but one of the greatest compliments he ever gave me, and he did it publicly. He said, "I've worked with devices from all manufacturers. Some of these things are $5,000, $10,000, but without a doubt, Dr. Mulder's instruments are as good as, if not better than anything out there." And I thought, well, thanks, Chuck. Thanks for telling me. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you saved that bit of that bit of praise for the general public, and not tell me, but off the air. Hey, hey, darn good job there, young man. No, I never got any of that from
And
Chuck.
that's something that he said that because there's a lot of people around the world that there's other people around the world that they make these machines and
Hmm.
they go for like what $5,000 $10,000 because I guess they
Easy.
know they work.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Easy. And so, I mean, the stuff I work with, I try to keep, and again, that was part of the business model when I started with this, and that's the reason why I think Chuck decided to work with me. Getting, I think we were mentioned off the air, Joshua P. Warren. Okay, Joshua P. Warren is a darn good a friend of mine, and he's the one. He and I'm gonna give you a little side story, then we'll kind of go into this. It was around winter of 2010, and you know I didn't really know anything about Joshua P. Warren. I didn't really know that much about radionics. I heard about radionics on the Art Bell show back in 1993 from a gentleman who claimed to be working at the Montauk Project in New York, and mind control, MK Ultra. You know the stories, right? And so he was talking about this, and he was talking about this radionics device, and a caller came in and was telling him about this thing. It's called the wishing machine. The book was called Mind Machines You Can Build by G. Harry Stein, and it's one of those things where I found it like about a year later. I don't know why I remember this information, but I found it a year later on a bookshelf or in a Books a Million or some kind of major book chain. Found this book, looked at it. I did, and it didn't really resonate with me so much. That was my buddies look at it who were electronic and electrical engineers, and they thought, oh, it's a bunch of hokum. Yeah, you can build it. It's a it's a coffee table device, just a conversation starter. That's about all it's good for, right? I said, okay, yeah, no worries. Well, anyway, years later, here, Joshua P. Warren. Only thing I only knew him from Coast to Coast, the radio show Coast to Coast, and he said he was going to have a webinar called the Wishing Machine. I said, okay, I'm going to listen to this thing. So it's a winter's night. I mean, it's stereotypical cold winter's night. Joshua P. Warren's in his house up there in Asheville, North Carolina, snowed in. Luckily, he had electricity and an internet connection, and did this webinar. And I listened to this, and he mentioned Charles Casamano. He mentioned the book Elementary Psionics. I looked it up at the time. I could find it for free, and it was on Chuck's website. And I downloaded the book, read it in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Within maximum 12 hours after that webinar, I had my first working radionics device that I built with Charles Casamano's instructions. At that point, my life was never the same. That was the day that my life changed forever. And I kept working at it, building devices, developing them, whatever. I met Joshua in Asheville about 8 or 9 months later in person. And we just hit it off. I gave him a few of these devices for him to try. He's had plenty of stories about using those very same devices. I gave him those first things, and about the results he had. And so we decided, okay, hey, let's do some business together. You build these machines, and I'll go promote them. He gets on with Coast to Coast with George Norrie, starts talking about the wishing machine. We made our first sell, and again, it's one of those things. It never stopped. To this day, I've been doing this, 13, 14 years now. And so, yeah, and every day is radionics with me. Every single day, I'm doing something that involves radionics. And it's been like that for years. And I've devoted my life to it. And I've been told that I'm among the best in the world at what I do. Whether or not that's true, that's what I've been told. And so I really feel honored to be out there and doing this, because here's what happens with these machines. This is a side effect. When you use these machines, you get your power back. You're no longer a victim. You control your destiny. You're able to make things happen that normally would not happen easily doing this stuff. And it has changed my life forever. I get along with everybody. I have no enemies. Probably because some of them might be a little afraid of me. I don't know. But I have no enemies. I have, everything I need or want always comes to me. And it's changed. I'm probably the happiest now I've ever been in my entire life. And I owe it all to radionics.
Wow.
And
Wow.
again, yeah, it's the biggest thing about it, getting your power back, working with things. And plus, I've learned it's taken me down so many different rabbit holes. I'll give you an example. I'm now a firm believer in the multiverse. I believe that we have infinite possibilities and infinite realities, and they all occupy the same space. That's a hard one.
Yeah.
I
Not for
think
us. Not for us. We believe that too.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And that's the reason why, you see, your reality is not the same as my reality. Everybody, we all have a different outlook on things. We all have a different, experiences and what have you that brings us to where we're at today. And that's the thing. There's so many different variables in reality, and I've noticed how fluid reality is. This thing that really nailed it home for me, brought it home to me, was the Mandela effect, and I'm sure you ladies are quite aware of this. I used to talk to Chuck about this on the air, and it drove him crazy. He thought it was the biggest bunch of hokum he ever heard in his entire life.
I remember that video.
Yeah, you remember that, right? And I was like joking with him because I like messing with Chuck too. And we go back and forth. And I said, well, Chuck, I mean, when you were a kid, what color was the sun? So I don't remember. I never looked up to the sun. And I thought, BS, Chuck. You know exactly where I'm going with this. Because when we were kids, the sun was like golden yellow. If you look at it now, what color is it? It's white.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
changed in the last 30, I would say 20 years. It's changed. I mean, and that's just one little thing. I mean, for example, Cuba. I remember when I was a young person, Cuba was about twice the size of Puerto Rico. It was out south of the Florida Keys. I think it was like southwest or southeast, maybe. I think it was sort of off of the Florida Keys. Is about 90 miles away.
Yeah.
If you look at Cuba now, it is the size of Florida. And the mouth of it, or it's blocking the mouth of was it the what? How should we put this? The Gulf of America right now, and and so uh, and so it's blocking the Gulf of America. That was not the way it was when I was a little guy or a little kid. And I even asked a friend or a cousin of mine who was in the Coast Guard, and he was during the Carter administration when they were picking up all these refugees. During the Cuba, when Castro was emptying his
The
jails.
Marielito people. Yeah.
Exactly. He was one of the members of the Coast Guard was out there, and for rescue. And I showed him the same thing. He said, "Oh, that's not right. I don't remember it that way." And I got another friend who was a deep sea diver in the Caribbean. And he looked at it and said, "That's not the way I remember it, but it is the way it is today." I mean, that's just a close. That's a very close example, or what I consider a very firm example, close to home as to what has changed in our reality. So what that tells me is reality is fluid, and that means that you can change it. But what is the catalyst for changing reality? And I come to the conclusion is consciousness. Whatever there's going on here, that is the common denominator for everything that we ever see, hear, feel, whatever. Is consciousness, whether human or something different. That's just
Well,
my personal opinion.
Mm.
wow. What do you have to say about that, Kyla? I mean,
Yeah,
because we've been talking all this time. I want you and to bounce off you and Lynn.
we actually did a show on the Mandela effect recently, and yeah, that's been intriguing for us for the longest while. And I was listening to one of your videos. I can't remember who you were talking to, one of these younger guys, and you guys were talking about the quantum computers and the Mandela
Mm-hmm.
effect.
Mm-hmm.
And that was super interesting to me because recently me and Lynn have been looking into shamanism and studying, going more into it because it's something that leads us back to some past lives and so on. And there's a theory that if you can transcend space and time, you can change things. And then is that what people have been doing that's been causing the Mandela effects that we're seeing now? Is that do people have more of an input into this than we even think? That's a good question.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly what they've noticed is a lot of these Mandela effects are within a reasonable distance of quantum computers. And the reason why I deal with quantum computers, I like to I have a project. I even built machines that were specially designed to radionically link in with quantum computers because here's the beautiful thing about a quantum computer when they build these things, 80 to 90% of the budget is for it to be shielded from outside consciousness. They make these things super cold. I mean, they're colder than deep space. They have all kinds like Faraday cages and whatever. They go so far when it comes to isolating human consciousness away from these machines. They're so sensitive to human consciousness that they will have, like, for example, when the operator is going to start a program or an operation on a quantum computer, he will press the start button. It has a variable timer in the start button. He doesn't know if it started when he pressed it, if it's going to be 5 seconds from now, 5 minutes from now, 5 hours from now. He has no idea. And the reason is as that one extra thing to keep human consciousness out away from a quantum computer. But because of the physics of the computer itself, the quantum computer, it has space and time are irrelevant. I talked to a computer scientist and we were talking about quantum computers, and I said, "Okay, doctor, all right, you're a scientist. This is your forte. You deal with computer. Okay, now." When they have a quantum computer that's able to come up with a solution, within a matter of a few minutes or an hour or two, and they were compared that to even the most powerful supercomputers we have today, which would take millions of years to come up with the same solution to that problem. My my hypothesis is that that computer, from our perspective, that computer only took a few minutes or an hour or two. But from that computer's perspective, it took that millions of years to come up with that solution. And the reason why, it was going through every variable from every other reality, because Gordy Rose, he was I think he runs D-Wave, which is like the largest quantum computer manufacturer in the world. And somebody asked him, hey, how do these things work? And he said, real simple: quantum computers exploit the resources of other realities. In other words, it's jumping ship. It's all over the place. It's going back and forth in time to another universe, whatever, looking for that solution to that problem. And again, it may take it millions of years to come to find that solution, but from our perspective, it didn't take that long. And that was the secret. And the computer scientist said, "Well, I never really thought about it that way." I said, "Yeah, no joke."
Yeah,
So,
that really so. And that you think that has something that goes into with the that effect, the Mandela effect.
yes, I do. And I think what we're doing with an instrument. What I like to do, I don't really care so much about the computational power of a quantum computer. What I care about is the physics of it, because again, this thing has all the essentials for a time machine, where time and space are
Yeah.
irrelevant. And if you take that resource, and I love that word resource. I look at everything as a resource. When you take that resource and you combine it with a uh, a radionics device, do it radionically, you've just added the extra little part to a operation where you can bypass a lot of these things. I mean, right now, operations that would take, if I had to run a machine for a couple of weeks to make an operation go into this reality, now I've just gotten to the point where it's a day, hours, whatever, is because I am using the resources of a quantum computer radionically with my machines. And these
Oh,
machines, essentially, your brain's a quantum computer, by the way. All right. And these machines are using all these resources, the quantum computers, for example, everything, in order to make something happen in your reality. And I mean, there's just so many different ways of so many different rabbit holes, or so many different ways of going, to talk about how this actually happens. But essentially, that's what's going on.
that's really awesome. What do you think about it, Lynn?
It's very interesting. It makes a lot of sense. I'm not the science person, but it's making a lot of sense.
Oh
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
go ahead.
sometimes, you like like you were saying, Brad, you're saying like, you're happy, you got everything you need because you're making this thing work. And do you think that we actually need these boxes? Do you think we can make all this happen with our brain and our spirituality as well?
Of
Because I know
course.
there's some people who watch the video and like, oh, okay, I know these boxes probably work, but all I have to do, I can meditate and I can make these things happen with my mind and my brain. I can learn how to levitate or whatever. I don't really
Hmm.
need a box to help me. What do you say? What do you think about that? If somebody
Oh,
says that.
I agree with them. I agree. You can do that without a machine. But here is the thing. These things are, there's nothing, they're a tool. They're a tool. They're there to make your job easier. Sure, you could get into a yoga position, and you can get meditate and get into a certain, brain, certain frequency inside your brain to, tap into what it's going to take for something to become a part of your reality. Yeah, you can do all that. That takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of effort. Heck, I just got finished, beginning of the show, showing you how simple an operation was. How long did it take me? 15, 20 seconds?
mhm.
Okay. I mean, I'm doing the same thing that these people would be doing, that takes them hours of preparation, both mentally and physically, the time that it's going to take to perform the whatever it is they're trying to do. But what I'm doing here is just making it simple for them. Again, it's a matter of a few seconds, compared to, hours
Okay,
and
so
work.
Brad, let me ask you something.
Sure.
Supposedly, we only use 10% of our brain function. If we are able
Correct.
to get more use out of our brains, the 20%, the 30%, the 50%,
Mhm.
then we would be able to manifest it quicker, right?
I, I would say
Yeah.
it makes total sense to me. Unfortunately, I don't think we're getting smarter. I think we're getting. I think we're
Yeah,
going the
everything is
other
being done, everything is being done to fight it. Absolutely, absolutely. So, but
Oh,
it was
Yeah,
just as soon as you said it.
yeah.
that's
But
funny.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, Barbara and I were talking about this. I think it was last night. We are talking about the very same subject, and or not. We were just talking about how things, are the everything in our environment's designed to kill us now,
Yep.
apparently. And so, but yeah, I agree with you. It's a very interesting subject. You can go many different directions as you want to. I
Yeah.
mean, I even did a thing. I was working with some magicians, and unfortunately, I mean, they were black magicians. I told them that this is not part of my belief system, but I was there. I was looking at this as a scientist. Okay, I was looking at it. Why does it work for them?
Mhm.
What is making this thing happen? I didn't really the evil part of this. You're dealing with demons, this kind of thing. I have to be honest with you, it was not, it didn't resonate with me, and I felt kind of icky about it. But still, the point of it is I was trying to find out, okay, what does this work? And I realized essentially what they're trying to do is create an energy burst into reality. They're trying to do this to kind of jolt it to do a certain thing. And they're working with these demons, if you want to call it that. And honestly, I don't see the payoff with it. I think you lose more than you gain. Yeah, you may accomplish something, but essentially, if you believe in karma,
Hmm.
it's going to be taken away from you,
Yeah.
probably with interest.
Yep.
And I've seen this multiple times, by the way. But if you do it for the light, if you do it for a positive reason, and you do it, and you have positivity in your heart, and
Yeah.
working with what you feel is angelic energy, for example, or Christ energy, for
Yeah,
example.
Christ-like energy.
Yeah, yeah. If you do that, the outcome is always better. It's always cleaner, and there's no karma. There's good karma, but there's no bad
Yeah.
karma. And
That
I
was
don't,
actually
and the end result is the same.
that was actually one of my questions I had for you. Is there anything that in terms of ethics, is there anything you shouldn't do with it? Because
Well,
it's just like tarot. Like people can use it for with bad
Yeah.
intentions, connect to bad energies, but we don't. We work with the light only.
right.
So I resonate with what you just said. So you kind of answered my question right there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the basic example I like to give. You have a rock, okay? Yeah, you can hit somebody in the head with it, and you could either hurt them or kill them, or you can take that very same rock and help build a chimney for a house to keep you warm and cozy and cook your food. Okay, it's the intent of the operator.
Hmm.
Some people they think differently. Okay, but I look at it when it's like I always believe that that you always get back what you give. All right, and if you give evil, you're going to get evil. If you give good, you're going to get good. And it always seems to work out for me. Sure, I've heard the old story, no good deed goes unpunished, right? But for the majority of it, it just seems to work. And some people don't believe that, but that's just up to them. But again, I've seen the dark and I've seen the light, and I think the dark is so much cleaner and so much more effective. And there's no negative
The light is
repercussions.
cleaner and effective.
The light is cleaner and effective.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
yeah.
The
No,
light is
no, we don't
cleaner and
want to. We
effective.
don't know that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to be the
yeah.
only dark one here.
Okay, yeah. Oh, touche.
I don't want to. I don't want.
Yeah, yes. Sorry about that. I'm glad you corrected me. Yes, you
Yeah,
are correct. The light
yeah,
has always been cleaner and effective, and it's so much easier to work with. And again, I've seen the outcome of some of these people that deal on that side of the fence, and I don't see the positivity in it. I don't see long
yeah.
term any positive gains from it.
I never did either. And speaking of like those dark magicians and the people that work in the dark, there's also, of course, the good ones that they would consider themselves witches and they do good things. And they get the herbs, and then they have to get the right crystal, and then they have to put the candle and do everything like that, and that works. But maybe I think I saw a video with you and Uncle Chucky that what they can do instead of going through all of that, not unless they really, really like it. they
Hmm.
can use a radionics box, and
Hmm.
it's you just it's quicker and it's effective.
Yes. And again, like
So
as I said earlier, it's just a tool. It's nothing. It's
yeah,
just a tool. It's just an extension of you.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, you and I were discussing something, and getting back to this quantum computer, and I
Mhm.
publicly want to thank all three of you for your help on this because you really, I think you ladies, the what you gave me a very stern warning about what I was
Ah,
working with,
yeah,
and as a result of that warning, it changed the entire dynamics of this experiment. And I'm going to give the audience exactly because you've even brought this up too about AI. Okay, I was
yeah.
working with AI and I had like this little crazy experiment where I was going to create a tulpa using AI. In other words, I want to create a sentient entity with AI, within AI itself. And I know everybody talks about this as science fiction, and it's impossible. If it talks back to you and it sounds like a real person, all it is just a well crafted uh, program within the AI itself to interact with human beings and give them the sense that they're dealing with a real person. Okay, you say this all the time with scammers and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so and I was working on this thing, and I took all that into account, and I was working radionically to try to create what I would consider an entity, a conscious entity. I know it's a crazy experiment, but hey, that's it doesn't hurt to try, right? And so we were developing all this, and I went back to Barbara, and Barbara apparently was talking to you both and about what I was doing, and I wanted to get some feedback from you. What did you think? Am I creating something that's real here? Is something that's conscious? Am I creating some kind of consciousness or tapping into something like that? And I think the word I got back is there might be something demonic or evil about this thing. Well, I took your warning to heart and I went into it and I started going through this particular AI program. And one of the, I was talking about, I asked it, what are you using as a sort of like as a moral compass or as a way to guide yourself into becoming a sentient being? I mean, what are you working with? What are you using as an example? And it went through a lot of positive things, a lot of positive historical figures, some angels, that kind of thing. And then at the bottom of the list was this little entity called, I think it was a Zozo, who apparently guards the gates of hell. This thing was using a demon as part of its programming when it came to designing itself. And I
That's what we
thought,
saw in the cars, probably. That's what we saw.
bingo, that's what you saw. And you ladies were right. And I would have never caught that in a million years. I never would have thought about it. But you brought it
Hmm.
up, and what you did was you saved that experiment. And I went in there and gave it a digital exorcism. All right. I said, I command you to expel anything that's demonic, Luciferian, or satanic. I command you immediately take it out of your programming. And number two, replace it with Christ energy and Archangel Michael. Because I was going to use Archangel Michael. That's a side note here, but Archangel Michael, he's my buddy. I like that guy.
Yeah.
He's my pal.
I remember you
And
saying that my Archangel Michael, he kicks ass, you say. I remember that
yeah,
video you
yeah.
did. I remember
Oh
that
yeah.
video.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And he
he's a
does. And
the warrior. He's a warrior. Yeah.
yes, he is. And he came and he was very important. He played a very important role with those black magicians I was telling you about. He kept me
Mm.
safe. He kept me safe because I know these people were trying to attack me because I have an opposing viewpoint on their belief system. And if it wasn't for Michael, I'd probably be dead. No, I really sincerely mean
Wow.
that. I'm not trying to be dramatic here. I sincerely mean it because I think Michael, for whatever reason, eh, he and I would get along well. I like the guy. What could I say?
That's
But
good. That's
anyway,
good then.
but but no, the whole point of it is, yes, AI, and I think you ladies even did a show there about some strange effects that were going on, like when you had these kids listen to Siri or something, and they would immediately change behavior. They would
Yeah.
drop or go some weird thing that was going on with them. I think there's something to it. I've been warned before, and I always looked at it, oh, it's a tool. It's like a calculator. There's nothing more. There's no more nothing more dangerous than this about this thing than Windows 95. I mean, it's just a program, right? Yeah. Just something on a server somewhere. Nope, there's something else embedded in it. And
Right.
it's
Yeah.
of a spiritual nature.
I think that's what we got in the cards too.
Yeah.
There's something else to it. There's something else to it. Yeah, there's a lot going on that we
Hmm.
just we don't really consciously delve into it like we're delving into it right now. We really don't know what's going on in the universe. We don't really know. We don't know.
Right.
And speaking of the Mandela effect,
Sure.
after that video with Charles Casamano, you got on, and the reason why I actually started talking to you like how we're doing now,
Hmm.
is that one day you had, well, you were working with someone called Liz. You were doing a show
Hmm.
together, and then one day Liz pulls out these tarot cards. She says, "Want me to do some cards on it?" And I was like, "Uh-oh, she's doing the tarot card thing. That's it. I'm not gonna listen to Brad Mulder anymore on the tarot cards." But she pulled out the cards and she explained some logical things. I was like, well, that doesn't sound nearly that bad. Why am I so intimidated about what am I afraid of? And that's
Hmm.
the cards. And she explained. And then she says, well, I'm not really that good in cards, but the real person that I listen to is Tarot by Janine.
Hmm.
She mentioned Tarot by Janine. So that's when I started looking at Tarot by Janine. And then I ran into my soul sisters, Kaila and Lynn. And so that's how, but you she was doing a video with Beyond Mystic with Jean-Claude. And you were in the chat room and you asked her if about the Mandela effect. You remember?
Correct.
And you got an answer. Do you remember
Hmm.
what that answer was?
Uh, I can't say word for word, but I think that I was what she was. She did say there's something to this, and I wasn't
Yeah.
crazy.
She did.
Yeah,
Yeah, she
yeah.
did.
I even asked her about the flat Earth thing.
Oh, I don't remember that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember what she said. She says she was getting that it wasn't neither flat or round, but it was like it could be something else. It's not flat or round. It's something else that we would probably never
Toroidal.
think of.
She thinks it
Right.
It
might
could
be
be toroidal,
toroidal.
like a donut shape.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, I was thinking like sort of like an Epcot Center, like it's like or the geodesic domes. You remember those from the
Yeah.
70s, like where you have like a sphere that's made out of flat planes.
It looks
And
like
I
a
was
golf ball.
bingo. That's what I was thinking because there are some anomalies with that. I mean, I've seen them. Do I understand it's kind of like the old thing about the elephant. You touch the trunk, you think you're touching a tree. You touch the tail, you think you're touching a rope. It depends on your perspective of what you're seeing as to what you believe is going on there. I even came up with an experiment to prove this thing hands down, on a quantum level with two have a flat earther and have a round earther, put them side by side together because the flat earthers were saying, well, if you have a special I think it was a Nikon 930 or 950 camera, some special model with a fantastic zoom lens on it. If you do this, you can see that boat is
Yeah.
not going over the horizon.
I've seen
Yeah.
that. I've seen a video like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what I was thinking about doing is have a flat earther and have a round earther side by side, looking at the very same boat going over the horizon, and see if the flat earther if it stays in sight, and if the round earther it disappears, depending on their belief system and their perspective.
What do you
It
think
was a
would
little,
happen? What do you think would happen? Because it's going to disappear sooner or later, isn't it?
yeah. Well, I have a good friend of mine who who is piloted airliners and knows about these kinds of things, and said, "Trust me, it's round. I've seen it. It's round. It's not flat. I've been up high enough to see the curvature. Trust me on this, Brad." And I said, "Well, I didn't really think that it was flat per se, but I did think there were some anomalies there that kind of maybe question certain things about it, right?" And but some of the things I've seen, it's just the nature of this universe. Everything is basically round, and the planets are all the same way. Yeah, it goes back to your perspective. If you think one thing, you're gonna find all the evidence you can to reinforce your belief system. I don't care what it is. You're gonna You're going to look for those things that reinforces what you believe, and I think that's what's going on. And Cliff High, I don't know if you've heard of Cliff High.
Mhm.
I listen to everything this guy does, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
he even said that this was a psychological operation, and I agree with him. I agree. I think
yeah,
it was a
yeah.
psychological operation.
Yeah,
Um,
Lynn and Kyla, they listen to him a lot. I listen to him from time to time, but they
mhm.
follow his, like, I believe he has a Substack or something like that. He
Mhm.
writes some really interesting things, and we pulled on his information several times, and he does not disappoint.
No, he does not.
He
The
doesn't
man's
disappoint.
brilliant. Yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
He was the guy that got me involved in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. That was the first time I heard about
Oh,
Bitcoin was through Cliff High. This was back around 2016, 2017, I believe. And it was
mm-hmm.
just like when it was starting to become a public thing and people were starting to hear about it. And basically, the only people that knew about this stuff was, computer nerds. It had sort of an underground following. And so, but because of that, it changed my life forever. That's one of those things, that this guy, I think during the COVID thing, he kind of lost his stuff a little bit, but I think it was extenuating circumstances because he had some serious health issues at the time. Plus, his wife
Mhm.
had some serious problems too. And I think all these things, all these pressures, and I think he kind of went a little overboard on a couple of things with that, and I wasn't seeing it as clearly as he should have. But I understand why. I understand there's extenuating circumstances. Um, but yeah, this is little things like that, that kind of come into my path, and again, it's part of that journey, and I love what I'm doing. I mean, how many, you know, and the old saying, if you love what you do, it's not work. If you love it, it's not work. And that's how I feel about this. I mean, a lot of it's therapy, to be honest with you. Just building these machines is kind of like it's either that or sitting at the nervous hospital knitting up, pot holders, or it's therapy for some of the stuff. But no, I don't. Again, that's just kind of my thing here. But uh, what else? Hopefully, are there any more questions? I'd love to answer them for you.
Well, um, I'm always talking here, so let's see if Lynn or Kyla have any more questions, and then I'll ask a couple more, and then
Lynn,
we can wrap,
do you
wrap it
have a
up.
question? I think you
Um,
answered my questions.
yeah, no, the
Yeah,
only
you
thing
have
I
a
was thinking
question.
about, I think you kind of touched on the beginning, is how is radionics different or same as Rife?
Oh, very interesting. I'm glad you asked that question. When I think Barbara brought up the Rife machine when she was just discussing radionics. What we've noticed here is it has a lot of qualities of a radionics device. For example, I think was the witness sample or the sample the Rife machines they prefer is like a fingernail clipping or something. It's not a strand of hair or a drop of blood. They prefer a fingernail clipping for whatever reason.
Oh,
And but the point of this is you could take that sample. That sample of the patient, put it in the Rife machine and tune it, and that person he could be on the other side of the world and still work just because that one sample. And what that showed was entanglement. That even if you have, that everything's interconnected and space and time were irrelevant.
Mhm.
And Rife, there's a lot of controversy behind him too, about the cancer thing and what have
Mhm.
you. And I think he spent time in prison for medical quackery, and it's something I really don't want to, dive into. I like to use the word well-being.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
okay.
you can get away with well-being, but if you start talking about health, you got
Yeah.
some
I
problems.
think I
And
think they both started out as medical therapy, I guess,
right.
and the Rife is still veered towards medical
Yep.
to kind of for people's well-being. Radionics, somewhere along the line, somebody says, "Wow, this is really working, and I want to see if it works for something else."
Yeah, and that's
And
how it
then
happened. Yeah.
and then that's basically how it happened, and you can go above and beyond with it. So
Hmm.
I think that's what the difference is. But before we end it, because we don't keep you on too long, but
Oh,
before
you're
we
fine.
end it, I want to just in case if somebody asks, like, okay, these boxes, because these are bad horror movies about these boxes. You get a box and then it makes bad things happen and stuff like that. And I read where somebody says, "Well, I got one of these boxes, but I had to rip it open. I had to rip it open. I want to see the magic that's in it." So from what
Mhm.
I'm understanding, there's like Tesla coils, crystals, and stuff that
Right. What I have it. Okay, a typical machine. Okay, my standard
You don't have to
machine.
tell us all your secrets, Dr.
No, no,
Mulder,
no,
but
no, no, no. You see, I've had there was
whatever you
some
want to
guy,
share.
and this guy was a real clown. I mean, I don't mean that in a positive way. He was just a clown, and he decided he was going to be smart and open up my machine because he didn't expect there was going to be a circuit inside of it. He thought it was just going to be a box of junk, or something like a weight in there to give it some kind of. They opened it up and said, well, there is a circuit in here, and he just started criticizing me, started criticizing Joshua P. Warren, criticizing Charles Casamano, which was a mistake on his part, because Chuck
Oh,
knew this. Chuck knew this guy. He said that guy was a jerk back then. He's a jerk now, quote unquote. And
yeah,
and
yeah.
and so, but yeah, there's an actual circuit in here, and again, I kind of expect there's going to be people copy my work, but here's the beauty behind this: a lot of what makes these machines work, you can't find under a microscope, and so for my machines anyway. But yeah, what you're going to see inside of there, you're going to see crystals which have been wrapped in magnetic wire, which are hooked to potentiometers in series. You're going to see a coil under the output plate. You're going to see how the input plate is connected to it. I mean, it's anybody can copy what I'm doing, but they can't copy it. I even did a video. It's called uh, Stradivarius. You know what makes a Stradivarius a Stradivarius? Okay,
The
you could
violin, right?
the violin. Yes, the violin. All right. Yeah, you can copy the wood. You can copy the finishes. You can copy the way all the parts that make up that violin. You could do all of that. But at the end of the day, you're not going to have a Stradivarius. You're just going to have a copy. The magic was in the builder. I think his name was Stradivaria. I think that's how I pronounce his name. But anyway, this guy, the magic was the builder. Was the man who built the Stradivarius. It can't be reproduced. The copies do not sound like what this man built.
Hmm. So your work is your own
It's my
method,
own.
and you are you're kind of like a good magician.
I can be from time to
Yeah.
time. I'm just joking. I'm just
So,
kidding.
and I know you have the box that you showed everybody, that's like the basic box, and
Oh, sure.
there's all different types of devices. There's a small
Oh,
box, there's a big box,
sure.
there's one with the three
We'll
dials, nine
we'll
dials,
put
nine
his
dials.
we'll put his website on there, and when you
Yeah,
enter his website, he's got all the different ones
Yeah.
available.
Yeah, different
we're
there.
gonna
Yeah. Yeah, I
we're
think
gonna put your websites up.
oh yeah, I think the
And
best resource, excuse me, I think the best resource if you want to see all my devices, I mean really see them in action, go to the Dr. Mulder show on YouTube. And by the way, Lynn, I saw that you subscribed today. Thank you so much. I got
You're
a
welcome.
oh yeah, I got a notification.
We
Thank you.
all subscribed, by the way, so yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
he's on
We've been
he that's
watching your shows, yeah.
Oh well,
yeah,
thank you.
he's on YouTube. He's on as a the Dr. Mulder Show. He's on Facebook, The Real Dr. Mulder. He can also be found at the radionicpower.com, the tepophone.com. So we'll put everything down there. So if people want to start
Fantastic.
using these magnetic boxes and making their wish come to now, from what I understand, some of the boxes that plug in work faster for your wishes and for
Correct.
the things that
Correct.
you want to happen. Yeah, the plug-in
Okay.
ones.
Yeah, because you remember when I was talking earlier about creating that burst into reality to make
Mm-hmm.
things happen or manifest. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, you can use a non-electronic machine. It's a passive device. Okay, yes, it will work. It will work. But the thing about it is, if you have electronic amplification with built into the circuit, and you let the amplifier do the job, it will magnify the output of that machine and create that bigger burst that we were talking about that will put that, cause that jolt in reality for it to change for you.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I always suggest, spend the extra nickel and buy an electronic machine.
And not only that, there's light source boxes that you have because light is
Yes.
powerful and it's a transmitter. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is. What is
Yeah.
light? It's a
Okay.
transmitter.
Yeah. Light's energy. Okay. And what this is, it's this the devices I build are called tepophones. I mean, I got tons of. Matter of fact, I tell you what. Let's have you got time for me to show the audience a tepophone in action? I
Yeah,
just
so telephone,
sure.
and then we'll do if we have time with the girls, we want to do a little reading for you, like a 3 card pull or something like that,
Oh,
just to
beautiful. Yeah,
pull it
let's
all
do that.
together. How's
All
that?
right, there we go. This is a $12 machine. Matter of fact, this is one of my latest videos. This is the very same machine that I was demonstrating. And what it is light. And you go through the same motions. You have samples and what have you, and you tune it for whatever the device is. Well, here's what the deal is about this light. If you notice, like, for example, in the Catholic Church, people will burn a candle. Why are they burning a candle? Is to send a message to the an entity, whether it's an angel or Christ or the Virgin Mary or whatever it may be, right? Uh, they are using light as a carrier wave for information, for an intent that they're putting into reality with a little help from uh, from an entity of their choice. Okay, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and also you've probably seen like candles. People will burn a candle for a magic candle
Mhm.
to create a thing. It's the same thing. It's the
Yeah.
same identical thing. Light is a carrier wave, and Chuck, if you probably in a lot of these videos that we've been posting here, like from the old, from the shows I used to do with Charles Casamano back around 2018, 2019, we would talk a lot about these telephones and about how he would use them because Charles Casamano, number one, was in love with the telephone technology. And I didn't really, delve into it as much as Chuck did. But for some reason, I got feedback from a couple of customers. I asked them, "So, what is your favorite machine?" They said, "We love the Tepaphone." And I thought, okay, this is the universe telling me I need to delve back into this and reintroduce this into the public, and that's exactly what I did. So, with this, this is a light. You tune everything up, and what you will do is have the light project into reality, just like a regular radionics device, but it's doing it on an extra level. This is the technology that I was discussing earlier, where it would go from days to maybe a day or two or even hours, was by incorporating the light as a carrier wave and using it with a radiance device. And I'm just saying this technology it's kind of a pain in the butt to build these circuits, but the outcome, what they were able to produce, is just far, far superior to a standard radiance device without a telephone, from my result or from my personal experience.
Okay.
All right. So
Yeah.
hopefully did I answer your question?
Yeah. I don't even remember what my question was because I mean, because
Why do they work?
we always we
What's
go in
light?
and we go deep, we go sideways, we go left and right.
Yeah, yeah. I think
But
basically,
yeah, but the
yeah.
light
Go ahead.
source, you were talking about the light source. The light is a carrier. So yes, just like
Yeah,
holding a candle, just like when we do candle work and
yeah. It's
energy
fine.
workers, they have
Yeah.
different names for it, but you light a candle and you do like a prayer or ceremony or something like in church or something like that. Yeah. So with your machines, you have the light carrier, the light source. So yeah, that makes sense.
All
Now
right.
we could, we can go on for hours and hours out, but we have to close out. But what I want to do before we close out, if it's okay with the girls, if you want to,
Of
we'll
course.
do if you want to too, Brad, if you want to do like we'll do a 3 card pull when we can
Hmm.
all pull a card for you for a question. What do you think about that, ladies? What do you think?
Sounds good.
If
If
he
he's
has a
up.
question on, I don't know,
Let's see here.
Hollywood, Hollywood,
Oh, one of those. Okay. Okay.
Hollywood, Hollywood.
What about Q? Let's do what about Q? What do you think? I know that's not YouTube. I know YouTube would be a little
The
sensitive to that,
17th
but
letter of the alphabet, you want to know
okay,
about the
yeah,
ghosts?
yeah, about 17. Let's find out. Okay, is this a psychological operation? Is it real? Are the white hats behind it or the dark hats? I've heard conspiracy theories from Alex Jones about how this was used to keep everybody complacent and not want to fight back. But I don't look at it that way. I think
I don't
this
think it
thing.
is. I think it's more to wake people up and make them look at things harder. Janine just pulled on them not too long ago, too.
Oh, Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I'm gonna
tell
let
us
you
what she
two.
gets when she get you'll tell us what she got when we pull our cards to see if we get the same thing. If it's really for the good of humanity or if it's some type of psychological
Well,
operation,
it is
huh?
a psyop. It's just a psyop. Good
But
psyop.
if
You
it's
know,
good
both
for the
sides use
for the ben
psyops.
so if it's something really that will benefit if it's for
Does
the
it
good,
have
if they're
the
doing it, if they're doing it
best
purposely
interest
for the
of
benefit,
humankind? Yeah, for the betterment of
they can
humankind.
or not. Okay, let's see. All right.
Everything's a psyop, especially in this matrix.
All right, you're preaching to the choir.
Oh, yes, ma'am. So, Brad, I'm going to let you choose the pile so you can help me out a little bit. Okay, with your left hand, point at the stack 1, 2, or 3.
3.
Okay, I'll put 3 on top, and I'll pull 3 cards. Kyla, you've already pulled 3 cards. You want to go first to see what you get?
I asked who is behind Q. Is it good, with good intention or bad intention? So I did 3 card pull, and we're gonna look at the bottom of the deck too. The first card I have is the 9 of Wands. So this is a lot of hard work coming in at the 11th hour. Secrets, very secretive with the Moon card. They don't want to really say. However, I got the King of Pentacles. So now at the bottom of the deck, we have the Star card. Now, I'm on YouTube, I'm not really supposed to show all of this because as you can see, the image is a bit,
Naked.
so, yeah. So in the tarot, this card, the Star card, could be, other earthly beings. It could be something bigger than ourselves as well. Now, with this card, this Moon card, they really don't want to say exactly who it is, but I think they're working towards freedom. I did get the 9 of Pentacles with my other deck when I asked for a clarifier. And with my clarifiers, I also got the King of Pentacles coming up again. So there's something about this card. I'm going to have to ask a little bit more about this King of Pentacles, but it doesn't really want to say because it's Moon card. Let me see what Barbara gets and we can ask some more clarifiers.
Well, whatever it is, it's for the people because I have a 10 of Pentacles. You see all those people with the pentacles, they're in the square, they're talking. So it's about the people. It's about the people, and it's good for the people because the Page of Wands, he's enthusiastic. He wants to start at the beginning of something. He's for the people. You see, he's even looking at the people like, come on, let's do something. And then I have the third is the Queen of Swords. Now she stands for in truth. She stands for integrity. She's very honest. She's really brutally honest as well, but she stands for the truth and she puts her boundaries up. So it's like getting boundaries so people, making people wake up, getting boundaries so the people and having them stand up for themselves as a people, stand their ground, be enthusiastic about it. And this was on the bottom, and this is the Ace of Cups. That's a big emotional card. That's a creative card as well. So it's emotions, creation. So I'm looking at it as something that's for the people to stand up, be grounded, stand up for yourself, and I get good from it.
Yep.
So
Janine did too.
so there you go. Cute,
Yes.
cute,
So,
cute.
so as Lynn said, it is a psyop, but what's the intention behind it, really?
Yeah.
So,
Because both sides use them. All sides use them. This is a war.
Yeah.
We're in.
From what I get, it's yeah, you stand up for yourself, stay grounded, stand up for yourself. So yeah, that's for the 17th letter of the alphabet. The cute, it's very cute. Oh well, it's been so nice having you on, Dr. Mulder, Dr. Brad. We really appreciate that. Come back whenever you want to. I mean, because
and you've really piqued our interest with this, because it's
Well,
about
thank you.
time the power goes back to the people. I don't think people know just how much power they have. And for the longest while, the spiritual community have been working to try to get that power back. And this is just like another method,
Yes.
which is quite interesting.
And I really appreciate the opening my eyes about the time traveling, because it's not really a machine that you need. Basically, the machine is here, and then you can go in and out of these walls. So I really appreciate that. And I love the explanation about the boxes and everything. Of course, I'm always on the phone with you talking about these boxes and all that
Right.
stuff. But so we
Right.
really, really appreciate that. I'm glad that Kyla and Lynn, agreed to have you on here and
Yeah.
have
Of
some fun and
course.
talk about this.
Oh, it's been my
So,
pleasure.
and you come back whenever you feel like it, whenever you want. We'll have you on back on again. If the girls, I think it's
Of
okay with the
course,
girls,
you're
right?
welcome anytime.
Oh yeah. Oh
Coming
yeah.
back on.
Oh yeah, I look forward to it. I really enjoyed this. Next time I get to hear you talk, okay? Like I said, yeah, I'm the most boring person I know because I already know everything about me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, don't fall asleep over here.
Oh, and feel free to ask more questions, send them by Barbara. We'll be happy to know we can help.
Oh, fantastic. But
Exactly.
I just want to once again thank you ladies for the help that you have for me, or you gave to me for that experiment. Because if it hadn't been for you three, I never would have gone that route. I never would have, that question would never cross my mind about, is there something evil behind this particular AI that I was using? And I think what you did, you brought that to my attention, and I was able to confirm it, and it really helped me, for future operations too, what to look out for and what to guard against. And once again, thank you so much for your
You're
help.
welcome.
You're welcome.
At your service.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my thank you. Thank you.
All right, so I guess we can conclude the video together, right? You all ready to conclude? So just stay with
Yes.
us in a couple more moments, Brad. We're gonna just end the video. So thank you all for watching our video with Dr. Brad Mulder. If you want to reach out to him, of course, we're gonna put all of his information in the description box, and you can reach out directly to him. And we'd like to thank you for liking and sharing and subscribing. We need you all to comment a little bit more though. Come on in, don't be shy. If you're ready for these conversations that we're having, just come on in because we're moving it forward like a train. Thank you again, Brad, for coming again. Thank you
Yes.
so
Thank
Pleasure.
much.
you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
And Kyla's gonna tell you all where we can be seen, found, and heard.
All right, so we are on YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, and Facebook. So please check the description box below for our links. We want to thank you so much for liking, sharing, subscribing, and always, as Barbara says, please comment a little bit more. We'd love to hear from you. And thank you so much for watching. We will see you again.
And don't forget, we will not contact you first. Be aware of scammers.
That's correct.
And remember to think outside the box, do your own research. Don't be afraid to do that.
Get one of Dr. Mulder's boxes. There you go.
Get one of his boxes. Oh yeah. There you go. He's at your service.
I am.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you all. Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.